Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class. This is your second period, and the subject is political science. Students, today, through this recorded video class, once again I am going to continue the same chapter 4, India's External Relations, from book 2, Politics in India since Independence. So, as I said, I am going to continue the same chapter, India's External Relations. So, students, today I'll start from page number 74. From page number 74, we have some topics, that is wars and peace with Pakistan. Already we have started this one, but once again I'll continue from this topic and we'll move on the next topics of the same chapter. Fine. So students, always you remember the relationship with Pakistan or the relations of India with Pakistan is always remain problematic. The relationship of India, our country India, with Pakistan always remained problematic in nature. And Kashmir always remained the bone of contention between India and Pakistan. Here the bone of contention means the problem. Ever since Pakistan got independence, the time at when India and Pakistan both got independence from the British colonial rule, from the very same year, from 1947 onwards, Pakistan started the terrorist activities against India in order to occupy Kashmir. 1947, 1948, 1965, 1971, that Kargil war in 90s, recently the Doklam attack. Many times India and Pakistan we had wars, and several times the UNO and the UN Security Council both interfered between India and Pakistan and established a ceasefire, stopped the war, and asked both the countries to go to their original positions where they were before the war. So let us study how the relations of India and Pakistan, sometimes war, sometimes peace. Let us see. In the case of Pakistan, the conflict started just after partition over the dispute on Kashmir. Soon after the partition of United India between Bharat and Pakistan over the issue of Kashmir, a dispute arose between Bharat and Pakistan. You will read more about the dispute in chapter 8. This is chapter 4, we will read in chapter 8. A proxy war broke out between Indian and Pakistani army in Kashmir during 1947. A proxy war. A proxy war was held between Bharat and Pakistan soon after independence in 1947. But this proxy war have not turned into a major war. But this did not turn into a full-fledged war. The issue was then referred to UN. The issue was then referred to the UN. We took this issue before UN. Pakistan soon emerged as a critical factor in India's relations with the US and subsequently with China. I repeat, the issue was then referred to UN. Pakistan soon emerged as a critical factor in India's relations with the US and subsequently China. When we made complaint with UNO, then Pakistan made complaint with what? US and China about our relations with Pakistan. So our relations with China and USA were spoiled. The Kashmir conflict did not prevent cooperation between the governments of India and Pakistan. The Kashmir problem always remained between India and Pakistan. This Kashmir problem unable to establish a very good relation between India and Pakistan or both the governments. Same thing I'm telling you, the Kashmir conflict did not prevent cooperation between the governments of India and Pakistan. Both the governments, both the governments worked together to restore the women abducted during partition to their original families. This one good thing we have done. I mean, those women who were stayed in India during partition, they were Muslim women who stayed in Pakistan. Those Muslim women were given back to their Pakistani government. Similarly, those Indian women who stayed in Pakistan during the partition, they were handed over to Indian government. A long-term dispute among the sharing of river water was resolved through the interference of the World Bank. Actually, India and Pakistan, we both had the water dispute, the river water dispute, Indus river water dispute. This dispute was solved by the World Bank with the intervention of World Bank. Remember, World Bank has solved this problem. The India-Pakistan Indus Waters Treaty was signed by Nehru and General Ayub Khan in 1960. Who shared the treaty, the agreement? Who have shared the treaty, the agreement between Indian government and Pakistan government on the river waters, Indus river waters means the Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and General Ayub Khan in 1960. So river water dispute, the treaty was held between Indian and Pakistan government in 1960. Despite all ups and downs, always there were ups and downs between India and Pakistan. Despite all ups and downs in the Indo-Pak relations, this treaty had worked well. Actually, we had problems with Pakistan, or Pakistan had problems with India. But despite these ups and downs between India and Pakistan, the treaty between India and Pakistan over river water dispute, that is Indus river water dispute, has been worked well. Fine. That's a good thing. A more serious armed conflict between the two countries began in 1965. I remember that's August 1965. A more serious armed conflict between the two countries began in 1965, as you would read in the next chapter, that one, by then Lal Bahadur Shastri had taken over as Prime Ministership. I mean, in 1965, who was the Prime Minister of India? Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. So it is during Lal Bahadur Shastri ji's term. It is Lal Bahadur Shastri ji's term or tenure that Indo-Pak war took place in 1965 once. In April 1965, Pakistan launched armed attacks. In April 1965, Pakistan launched the armed attacks in the Rann of Kutch area of Gujarat, because Gujarat is a neighboring state to Pakistan. So in April 1965, the Pakistan started the armed attacks on the nearby area Rann of Kutch of Gujarat. This was followed by a bigger offensive in Jammu and Kashmir in August and September. First they attacked on Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. Then again a massive attack that Pakistan made over India in Jammu and Kashmir in August 1965 or August and September 1965. That's why I told you August and September 1965. Pakistani rulers were hoping to get support from the local population there. The Pakistan people, they expected the Kashmir people, the Jammu and Kashmir people would help them in occupying Kashmir from India. They expected like that. The Pakistani rulers expected in that manner that the local people of Jammu and Kashmir, they will cooperate with Pakistan in bringing Kashmir under their control. But it did not happen. The local people have not cooperated, not supported. It did not happen. In order to ease the pressure on the Kashmir front, in order to make it easy, the pressure on the Kashmir front, Lal Bahadur Shastri ordered Indian troops to launch a counter-offensive on the Punjab border. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, he ordered Indian troops to do a counter-offensive attack near Punjab border, I mean Punjab and Pakistan border. Counter-offensive attack. That means Shastri ji, he ordered Indian troops to do counter-attack at Punjab and Pakistan borders. In a fierce battle, a battle took place between Indian troops and Pakistani troops. If in this fierce battle, strong battle, the Indian army reached close to Lahore. We reached to Lahore. We entered into Pakistan. We reached to Lahore. We have reached to Lahore. The hostilities came to an end. The enmity between India and Pakistan came to an end with the UN intervention. This issue was taken up by UNO. That India and Pakistan both were fighting with each other. This problem reached to UNO. Then UNO intervened or interfered in this middle and asked both the countries to stop the war and suggested both the countries to go back to their original positions where they were before the attack. So the hostilities came to an end with the UN intervention. Later, Indian Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri and Pakistan's General Ayub Khan signed the Tashkent Agreement. This is very, very important agreement here. Tashkent Agreement. This Tashkent is a place in erstwhile USSR. It is not in India. The Tashkent place was not in India. It is a part of Russia or USSR. So both Shastri ji and Ayub Khan, the General Ayub Khan of Pakistan, both signed an agreement at Tashkent. That's called Tashkent Agreement. Okay, brokered by the Soviet Union in January 1966. So it was in Soviet Union. The Tashkent, the place was in Soviet Union, and this Tashkent Agreement was signed in 1966. It will be asked to you students, when did the Tashkent Agreement was signed? When did the Tashkent Agreement was signed? The Tashkent Agreement was signed in the year 1966. Though India could inflict considerable military loss on Pakistan, though India, I told India reached to Lahore, though India have damaged a lot of Pakistan army, the 1965 war added to India's already difficult economic situation. What I want to say, though we could were able to put pressure on Pakistan, though we defeated or though we made a lot of damage to the Pakistan army, but at the same time this 1965 war with Pakistan also affected Indian economy. Already we are facing economic problems. So this was added one more problem. Okay. Now coming to Bangladesh War 1971. Bangladesh is just a side of what? West Bengal, Assam, borders are there. Earlier this is called East Pakistan. Earlier this Bangladesh is called East Pakistan. Remember students, East Pakistan. Earlier this Bangladesh is called East Pakistan. It's a part of Pakistan. The present Pakistan is called West Pakistan and this is called East Pakistan. And both comes under Pakistan country. So what happened? Beginning in 1970, Pakistan faced its biggest internal crisis. In 1970, Pakistan faced some internal crisis in its country. The country's first general elections produced a split verdict. Their general elections were held in Pakistan, and this first general elections produced a split verdict. That is, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's party emerged as a winner in West Pakistan. The present Pakistan, that is West Pakistan, there what happened? Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's party won the elections, while Awami League, another party, Awami League led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, this swept through East Pakistan. Two parties. Here, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's party won elections in West Pakistan, and here, that is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, his party swept polls in East Pakistan. Two parties in West Pakistan, East Pakistan. No single party occupied both the places. Different parties. Fine. The Bengali population of East Pakistan. Lot of Bengalis are there in East Pakistan. I mean the present Bangladesh, we are telling the Bangladesh. The name itself indicates that more Bengali people are there. The Bengali population of East Pakistan had voted to protest against years of being treated as second-class citizens by the rulers based in West Pakistan. I mean the Bengali people in that Bangladesh, why they elected this Mujibur Rahman or Sheikh uh, Mujibur Rahman? Why they elected? Because they were unhappy with the West Pakistan, because the West Pakistani rulers always treated the East Pakistani people as the second-class citizens of Pakistan. They have not given the due place, right place, equivalent with the West Pakistan people or West Pakistan citizens. They were given the second-class citizens by the rulers of West Pakistan. That's why they were not happy. The Pakistani rulers were not willing to accept the democratic verdict. But the West Pakistani people, that is Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's party, they don't want to recognize that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's government in East Pakistan. At the same time, nor were they ready to accept the Awami League's demand for a federation. Neither they want to accept the demand of the East Pakistan people, nor they want to give recognition to the East Pakistan Bengali people as first-class citizens. Moreover, they don't want to accept the demands of Awami League here, that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman belongs to Awami League party. So they don't want to recognize the demands of this Awami League to make the East Pakistan as a federation, a separate country. Now, instead, what happened in the early 1971? In the beginning of 1971, January, February, March, Pakistani army arrested Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Okay, instead in 1971, in the early 1971, the Pakistani army arrested Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the leader of Awami League in East Pakistan, and unleashed a region of terror or reign of terror. I can say. I'm sorry, unleashed a reign of terror on the people of East Pakistan. I mean, there is no government. Reign of terror means what? Anarchy. Anarchy is prevalent. There is no proper government. I mean, strong decisions are taken by the government. Okay. So the West Pakistani government arrested Mujibur Rahman, the Awami League leader, and started the reign of terror in East Pakistan. You can see the pages. Okay. Now, in response to this, the people started a struggle to liberate Bangladesh from Pakistan. The people of Bangladesh, the people of East Pakistan, they got angry and they started a protest movement in East Pakistan to liberate the East Pakistan from what? West Pakistan. The people, in response to this, the people started a struggle to liberate Bangladesh from Pakistan. They wanted to make East Pakistan free from what? West Pakistan. Throughout 1971, India had to bear the burden of about 80 lakh refugees who fled East Pakistan and took shelter in neighboring areas in India. War started. In 1971, war started. Not war actually, that I told a reign of terror started. With the fear of reign of terror, many Bangladesh people, they secretly entered into India to take shelter. They were called refugees. So many refugee people from Bangladesh, they entered into the neighboring states like Assam, West Bengal. They came to Indian territory and they took shelter. Nearly 80 lakh people, refugees took shelter in India. They came from Bangladesh to India. And India also extended their support. Indian government extended the support. They extended moral support and material support to the freedom of Bangladesh. That means we supported the Bangladesh people against Pakistan. Indian government gave support to Bangladesh people in the struggle against West Pakistan. Pakistan accused India of a conspiracy to break up it. Pakistan blamed that it is India which is making a conspiracy against Pakistan government to divide Pakistan into two parts, or Indian government is trying to what? Support the Bangladesh in getting independence from West Pakistan control. So Pakistan blamed like that. Support for Pakistan came from US and China. In this 1971 war, which was held between Pakistan and India, remember, the 1971 war, it was held between Pakistan and India over this of Bangladesh or East Pakistan. So in this in this war, Pakistan government got support from USA and China. The US and China rapprochement that began in the late 1960s resulted in a what? Realignment of forces in Asia. Henry Kissinger, you understand that one. Henry Kissinger, the advisor of the US President Richard Nixon, made a secret visit to China via Pakistan in July 1971. You underline this one. I repeat. Henry Kissinger, the advisor of the US President Richard Nixon, made a secret visit to China via Pakistan in July 1971 in order to counter US Pakistan and China axis. I mean to make friendship with what? China, Pakistan and USA. Then India signed against this US, Pakistan and China agreement or their friendship. India signed one 20 years treaty and 20 years of treaty, peace and friendship treaty with what? Soviet Union. When US person, he came to Pakistan and via Pakistan went to China to make friendship with the Pakistan and China. They wanted to make a group, USA, China and Pakistan, and India came to know this one. Then Indian government also made 120 years peace and friendship agreement with what? Soviet Union, because we also needed support. And at the time, the best country which we can take support is what? USSR. That this treaty assured India of Soviet support if the country faced any attack. According to this treaty, we asked the Soviet Union, if there is a war between India and Pakistan, then India needs the support of USSR. Like that, it made the agreement. And USSR agreed to give support to India against Pakistan whenever there will be war. After months of diplomatic tension and military build-up, a full-scale war, after a few months, a full-scale war between India and Pakistan broke out in December 1971. This date you remember, December 1971. It is December 1971, the war was started between India and Pakistan over East Pakistan. Okay, understood? December 1971. It is December 1971, a full-fledged war took place between Bharat and Pakistan on the issue of Bangladesh, East Pakistan. Pakistan aircrafts attacked Punjab and Rajasthan. The Pakistan aircrafts, because neighboring country, Pakistan. So the neighboring states were Rajasthan and I can say Punjab. So Pakistan army made aircraft raids and attacked Punjab and Rajasthan, the neighboring states of India, neighboring states of Pakistan or states of India, I can say. While army moved on the Jammu and Kashmir front, and some of the Pakistan army went into Jammu and Kashmir area. This was the move of Pakistan. Okay, India retaliated with an attack involving Air Force, Navy and the army on both the western and eastern front. India also made an attack. India retaliated with the army moved on Jammu and Kashmir, or I can say India retaliated with an attack involving the Air Force, Navy and the army on both the western and eastern front of Pakistan. Welcomed and supported by the local population, the Indian army made rapid progress in East Pakistan. With the support of the local people, India could win this war, or India could, help East Pakistan. What is it here? Welcomed and supported by the local population, the Indian army made rapid progress in East Pakistan. Within 10 days, the Indian army had surrounded Dhaka, from where three sides, and the Pakistan army about 90,000 had to surrender. 90,000 Pakistan soldiers were surrendered in front of India. That means India won the war between India and Pakistan, which took place in December 1971 on the issue of East Pakistan and Bangladesh. 90,000 Pakistan soldiers surrendered before India. With Bangladesh as a free country. Now Bangladesh got free. The East Pakistan got free, and it was renamed as what? East Pakistan renamed as what? Bangladesh, because more and more Bangladesh people are there. India declared a unilateral ceasefire. India alone. Unilateral means what? Individually. So after when the Pakistani soldiers surrendered in front of Indian army, Indian government, then Indian government also unilaterally declared the ceasefire. That means stopping the war. Later, the signing of similar agreement between Indira Gandhi and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto took place on 3rd January 1972. An agreement was signed, that was Simla agreement. It was signed in Simla. One agreement was signed between Bharat and Pakistan, between Srimati Indira Gandhi and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, the Simla agreement in 1972. 3rd June 1972, formalized the return of peace. Okay, now, a decisive victory, an important victory in the war led to national jubilation. I mean, Indian government got victory. Most people in India saw this as a moment of glory and a clear sign of India's growing military powers or prowess, I can say. As you would read in the next chapter, Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister at that time. She had already won the Lok Sabha elections in 1971. Her personal popularity soared. Soared further after 1971 war. After the war, the assembly elections in most states took place, bringing large majorities for Congress party in many states. India, with its limited resources, had initiated development planning. However, conflicts with the neighbors were derailed. Derailed means what? Whenever the train will come out of the track. Derail means what? पटरी से बाजू हटना, गाड़ी अपने पटरी से बाजू हटना. So, however, I repeat, conflicts with the neighbors derailed the 5-year plans. Actually, we had war with what? China in 1962. We had war with what? Pakistan in 1965. So, this Indo-China, Indo-Pakistan war affected our 5-year plans progress, because at the time 5-year plans were going on. So, these two wars affected badly our 5-year plans, and particularly the third 5-year plan was greatly affected, because 1962, 1965, this period we are having third 5-year plan. So the third 5-year plan was badly affected. Now, the scarce resources were diverted to the defense sector. Why your 5-year plans were affected due to this war? Because most of the money we diverted towards war. So money we are unable to spend in the carrying out 5-year plans. So that's why we are unable to carry out 5-year plans after 35-year plan. Instead of that one, we have carried 3 yearly plans, annual plans. 1965, 66, 67, 67, 68, like that. Or 65, 66, 66, 67, 67, 68. 3 5-year plans we have carried. 3 annual plans we have carried. Now, so the scarce resources were diverted to the defense sectors, especially after 1962, as India had to embark a military modernization drive. The Department of Defense Production was established in November 1962. Underline. The Department of Defense Production. The Department of Defense Production was established in November 1962. And the Department of Defense Supplies in November 1965. The third 5-year plan, that is 1961 to 65, was affected badly due to Indo-China and Indo-Pakistan war. Hence, we started 3 annual plans. And the 4th plan could not be initiated soon after 1965. After 1969. Actually, after 35-year plan, after 1966, we have to start the 4th-year plan immediately. But you are not started because lack of resources, lack of money, because money was diverted to war. So, but at the same time, we cannot stop the 5-year plans also. That's why, instead of carrying the 5-year plans, we have carried 3 annual plans, that is 66, 67, 67, 68, 68, 69. And again from 1969, we started what? 4th-year plan, after again resuming once again. Now, India's nuclear policy. This is very, very important. India's nuclear policy. I will complete this one. This is very, very important. You have to read this one. India's nuclear policy. Another crucial development of this period was the first nuclear explosion taken by India in May 1974. I told you, India first tested its nuclear weapon at Pokhran in Rajasthan in 1974. So another crucial development in this period was the first nuclear explosion undertaken by India in May 1974. Nehru had always put his faith. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji always put his faith in science and technology for rapidly building up a modern India. He wanted to make India a modern India with the development of science and technology. A significant component of his industrialization plans was the nuclear program initiated in the late 1940s. Since the late 1940s only we started that industrial revolution policy. Industrial revolution policy late 1940s we started, and we gave encouragement for what? The nuclear weapons. Under the guidance of Homi Jahangir Baba, Homi J. Baba means Homi Jahangir Baba. We took the help of this Homi Jahangir Baba for preparing nuclear weapons and bombs. India wanted to generate atomic energy for peaceful purposes. Actually, why India wanted to generate nuclear power, nuclear weapons? India wanted to generate nuclear power and nuclear weapons only for peaceful purposes. Nehru was against nuclear weapons actually. Nehruji was against nuclear weapons. But for peaceful purposes he agreed. So he pleaded with the superpowers for comprehensive nuclear disarmament. Nehru was actually against the production of nuclear weapons. So Nehru always requested all the big powers in the world, USA, UK, China, Canada, France, these countries, to stop producing what? Nuclear weapons or to achieve disarmament, but they didn't agree. However, the nuclear arsenal kept rising. Though Nehru requested, but the nuclear powerful countries have not agreed, not listened to Nehruji, they continued increasing the nuclear weapons. When Communist China conducted nuclear tests in October 1964, China, you underline this one because this will be helpful for you in economics. That book 2 in last chapter. What is it here? When Communist China conducted nuclear tests in October 1964, the five nuclear weapon powers, that Canada, France, USA, UK, Russia, the five nuclear weapon powers, the US, USSR, UK, France, China, Taiwan, then represent China. At that time, Taiwan also comes under what? China. So these five are what? USA, USSR, UK, France and China. These five countries are the nuclear powerful countries at the time. Also, the five permanent members of UN Security Council. These are also the five permanent members of Security Council. These are the five permanent members of Security Council. Tried to impose nuclear non-proliferation treaty (NPT) of 1968 on the rest of the world. These five countries actually they are nuclear powerful countries. They are increasing their nuclear weapons. They are keeping with their country, but they are advising all other countries through UNO that other countries should not involve in production of nuclear weapons. If any country will produce nuclear weapons, they have to take permission from us. See how cleverly these five permanent countries in the UNO, they are nuclear powerful countries. They are maintaining their nuclear weapons in their country, but they are suggesting all other countries in the world not to go for increasing nuclear weapons. If they want to, they need to take permission from these countries. India always considered the NPT as a discriminatory policy. Our country, India, always considered that NPT, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, as a discriminatory and had refused to sign it. India said, we will not sign this discriminatory policy. When India conducted its first nuclear test, it was termed as a peaceful explosion. See, when India conducted its first nuclear test, it was termed as peaceful explosion. India argued that it was committed to the policy using nuclear power only for peaceful purposes. India also said, yes, we have tested the nuclear weapon at Pokhran in 1974, and we are also producing the nuclear weapons, but we will use these weapons only for what? Peaceful purposes, not for waging war on other countries. The period when the nuclear test was conducted was a difficult period in domestic politics in India, following the Arab-Israel war. At the time, Arab country and Israel country, they had war in 1973. Arab-Israel war took place in 1973. Arab-Israel war took place in 1973. The entire world was affected due to oil shock. When Arab and Israel, these two countries had war in the world, Then there was a hike in oil prices. Many countries suffered due to what? The crisis of oil shock due to the massive hike in the oil prices by the Arab nations. It led to economic turmoil in India. When oil prices were increased, then it led to economic problems in our country, India, and resulted in what? High inflation in 1973. As we will read in next chapter 6, many agitations were going in the country around this time. I mean, so many agitations were started in India in 1973, including a nationwide railway strike. We have studied the railway strike. The railway strike started in 1973 afterwards. Although there are minor differences among the political parties about how to conduct external relations, Indian politics is generally marked by a broad agreement among the parties on national integration, protection of international boundaries, and on questions of national interest. Therefore, we find that in the course of a decade, that is from 1962 to 1972, this decade, 62 to 72, 10 years, when India faced 3 wars, or even later when different parties came to power from time to time, the foreign policy has played only a limited role in party politics. Okay, students. Now I am keeping up to here. 2 more things are there. That is fast forward nuclear India's nuclear program, and also shifting alliances in the world politics. So these 2 topics are there. We will continue next period, and if we finish this one, the chapter will be finished. But some topics are there, that is Indo-Russia relations, Indo-US relations, Indo-Israel relations, that I will cover. Okay, students. So next period probably this lesson will be completed. Okay, students. Thank you very much. Take care.